Well, this one will buy you a yacht, if you want a yacht, okay? Right, it goes like this. Mr. Client, what I'd like to do is draw you a little sketch to explain to you what I do. Okay, basically I'm going to explain to you what lifestyle financial planning is all about. And the way I do this is by suggesting that you, like me, have got a bucket. Okay? This is your bucket. And inside your bucket, you've got some money. Okay? We've all got money. You've got some money. Here, inside your bucket, are things like your investment plans, okay? Your savings plans, your endowment policies, your unit trusts, your shares, your bank account, your cash, yeah? The thing about all these items here inside your bucket is they're all encashable. You can spend that money very quickly. Sorry, not very quickly. You can get access to that money. Does that make sense? You can access it to spend it. It's liquid capital, basically. Now, some money might take you a day to get hold of. Other money might take you 7 days or 10 days to get hold of. But it's liquid money, okay? You can spend it. And that's why it's inside your bucket, because it's your money. Make sense? Now, obviously, you've been telling me about other things you've got. For example, you've got another asset. It's your major asset. It's your home. Yeah? But your home isn't inside your bucket. For the very simple reason is you can't spend bricks and mortar. Your home sits up here, outside of your bucket, like so. You can't take a few bricks out of your house and go and pay for your food bill. Yeah? For many people, their house is a liability as much as it is an asset. They have a mortgage to pay and bills to pay and maintenance and so on. So it's not the same money as that. Would you agree? Yeah, okay. Now, of course, one day in the future, Mr. Client, you may move to a smaller property when you're older, yeah? So you may downscale, we call it downscaling in the UK, to a smaller property when you're older, when your children have left home, and this house here might cost less than that house there. So at that point, you'll then find some value between that house, euro, sorry, some value between that house, and at that point, that money will then find its way into your bucket. Make sense? Yeah, good. Now, also outside of your bucket, Mr. Client, is your pension fund. Okay, assuming you've got a pension fund. Here's your pension fund. Okay? Bag of money. That pension fund, it's called your pension fund, but actually it's not your money. If you think that's your money, you try asking for it to buy a Ferrari. You know, write to the trustee of the pension scheme and say, could you please send me 80,000 euros to buy a Ferrari 360? They'll say, I'm sorry, Mr. Client, it's not your money. Okay? Having said that, this is in the UK. At some future date, you can take 25% of this money here as a tax-free lump sum in the UK, and that money there will one day find its way into your bucket when you take that cash, yeah, at 65 or 67 or 55 for some people. This tap here, and then meanwhile, there's a bag of money left here, and you'll put a tap on it and draw an income in the future, which will go into your bucket, okay? That will be an income drawn from your pension fund, which is what pensions are supposed to do. But this money here will never be yours, okay? So get used to that. Now, also, Mr. Client, you've been telling me about your business, okay? Only say this if he's got a business, by the way. Don't say these words. So you've been telling me, Mr. Client, about your business. Your business also sits up here outside of your bucket. Because you've been telling me how your business, for 20 years, you've run your business. When you started your business, you were really excited about it. You loved every moment. You couldn't sleep at night. You were so excited about it. But 20 years later, you now find yourself working with people you don't even like anymore and doing all the hours that God sends to keep this business afloat in this current recession. But hopefully one day, it'll all be worthwhile because that's when you might sell your business, yeah? So you might sell it. But until you do, it has to stay outside of your bucket. Does it make sense? Because it hasn't happened yet. So you've got money outside of your bucket, yeah, and money inside of your bucket. Easy so far. Agreed? Now, the good news is, Mr. Client, you've also got some money coming into your bucket. So, for example, on a regular basis, you've got money coming in. It's called income. Here we go. Look, you've got a salary every month for your company, for yourself and your wife. Your wife works in your business, in this example, yeah? So you've got a salary coming in. You've got dividends that might come in from your business, that you pay from your business. And there may be other forms of income coming into that family, okay? In the UK, child benefit for young children and so on. So these are current inflows into your bucket. Make sense? Now, these things here are all temporary incomes because one day they'll stop For example, when you retire, your salary will stop. When you sell your business, your dividends will stop. Yeah? But then other things might start. So, for example, in the future, you may get a state pension for yourself and your wife. A future income from the government, yeah, that you're paying national insurance for. And of course, one day you might downscale your house. One day you might take this tax-free cash from your pension. And of course, one day you might draw an income from your pension. And of course, you might sell your business, yeah? So those are future possible inflows, yeah? And these are current inflows which will stop. Does that make sense so far? It's pretty simple, isn't it? Now, this looks pretty good, doesn't it? Because on this basis here, your bucket should just fill up. The only trouble is, Mr. Client, over here we've got this thing called a tap. And it's this tap here that's draining money from your bucket like you wouldn't believe, because this is a cost of your lifestyle. Okay? In other words, Mr. Client, this is you doing the things that you like to do. So, for example, you've been telling me how you like to drive your BMW convertible and your wife's Range Rover Vogue, and how you're educating your children privately at St. Trinian's, and how you like to have your holidays in the Seychelles every year. Okay? So there's a cost to that lifestyle, a big cost. But it's important you have a good life now, because life's not a rehearsal. You get it? Now, this tap here one day will get turned off to be replaced by another tap. And it's this tap here that you turn on when you become financially independent, when you retire. And it could be you spend more money here than you do here, because this is a time in your life when you now want to do all the things you've been working hard to achieve. For example, you've told me that you want to go trekking in Bhutan. You want to cycle around Corsica. You want to sail around the Mediterranean. You want to do the things that he's told you. And it could very well be you spend more money here than you do here. And so you should, because life's not a rehearsal. You get it? Now, sadly, one day here, this tap here will get turned off to be replaced by another tap. And this is a tap you turn on, Mr. Client, when quite simply you become too old to enjoy yourself. At this stage of your life here, you can't do things that you could do here. At this stage of your life here, you can't even get up the stairs, never mind get up a mountain. At this stage of your life here, you can't get in and out of a wheelchair, never mind getting in and out of a yacht. Your knees have gone, your hips have gone, you're worn out. Happens to all of us. Now, sadly, you end up one day in a box, that's the end of you. That happens to all of us, doesn't it, eventually? So that tap gets turned off. Now, arguably, Mr. Client, there's one other tap you might have in your lifetime, which is what we call a one-off tap, okay? For one-offs. One-off expenses, which could be the purchase of your holiday home, or the villa you want to buy, or the yacht you want to purchase, or the daughter's wedding you've got to pay for, okay? Big expenses that could seriously impact your bucket, yeah? Make sense? Now, my job, so now my proposition comes in, okay? My job is to help my clients understand what's going to happen to their bucket. And I can tell you now, only one of two things can happen to your bucket. It's either going to run out because there's not enough in there in the first place. And if that happens, what that means is these taps here are going to have to be turned down or turned off, which means that you don't get the life that you want, which is pretty bad news. Or worse, your bucket doesn't run out, it fills up so high, it overflows. Now, some people say to me, Mr. Client, why is that worse? And I'll explain why. Mr. Client, if you go to your grave here with too much money in your bucket, having paid tax throughout your whole life and everything you've ever earned with income tax and national insurance, everything you've ever spent, you've probably paid VAT. You like the odd glass of alcohol, so there's a fair bit of tax on alcohol, yeah? Fuel tax on the car you drive. Fuel tax is pretty heavy on a Mercedes 500 or whatever he may drive. So tax throughout your whole life. You know, if you sell your business, you'll pay capital gains tax. Tax. To go to your grave with too much money in your bucket and then pay inheritance tax, we call it, estate tax, of up to, I think over here, 50-odd%, can it be? A high percent. 10 to 20. Okay, that's low. In the UK, it's 40%, okay? So estate tax at the end, that's not good. to pay that tax is not good. You've paid enough tax already, okay? Now, tax really is not your problem, Mr. Client. If you die with too much money and have to pay, your family have to pay that tax, it's not really a big problem, really. It's a bit less for them, but it's not the worst problem. The worst problem, Mr. Client, about dying with too much money is it probably means you didn't do stuff there that you could have done. What it means is you're lying on your deathbed here with all the money and no time. And you're thinking to yourself, can I swear? Fuck. Sorry. You're thinking to yourself, I didn't climb those mountains. I didn't sail those seas. I didn't have that world cruise with my wife before she died. I didn't spend that time with her because I was too busy working, making more money that I didn't actually need. I worked till 65, and I could have retired at 55. My job is to make sure that doesn't happen to you. You see, my job, Mr. Client, is to help you to manage all of this stuff here, to give you what you want, to help you live your life now, while you can, to enjoy it, within reason, to make damn sure here you achieve what you're trying to achieve, to make sure you can enjoy your life while you're still fit and able to do so, and to take care of this period here, where your needs will change, you'll need peace of mind and security. This is my job, to help you live the way you want to live it throughout your whole life without ever running out of money. Now, would you find this service useful? Okay? Normally it's, well, of course. Well, okay. In order for me to do this for you, Mr. Client, I need some help, because I need to know what that looks like and what that looks like. How much do you currently spend on these things to live the life that's worth living? So I then give them a short expenditure questionnaire, which I'll fill in themselves and send back to me later, which we'll then use to populate some software. Okay? But the point is, what we're doing is here, Mr. Client, we call this real wealth management. Okay? Managing your wealth to give you what you want. Why else have wealth if it doesn't give you what you want? Yeah? Make sense? So this is what we do. Now, I will just mention to you, there are one or two companies around, Mr. Client, that call themselves wealth managers, yeah, or advisors that call themselves wealth managers, or XYZ wealth management you get in the UK, firms that call themselves wealth management. And don't think for 1 minute, banks, yeah, in the UK have got wealth management divisions. Don't think for 1 minute that they do this. They don't. What those guys do is they mess around inside the bucket, shifting money from here to here to here, yeah, and getting you to cash this in and move it here to move it there. They call that wealth management, moving your money around, yeah? We call it, in the UK, churning. Making money on your money for their reasons, not for your reasons, okay? We don't do that. We do all of this. Does that make, and that's why you pay me, basically. Now, at this stage, I need to go through what you've got assets-wise and look through all of these investments you may have and so on. I need to go away and do some work. When I come back, I'll explain to you exactly how this works. And that's what I'm going to do later on today, okay? Does that make sense? Yes. Could you guys use that as an idea? Okay. Everybody, let's explain this to you. Everyone has a bucket. You've got a bucket. You put yourself in this position. You have a bucket. You've got various taps. You're probably still in this phase here at the moment. When you retire, you'll go to there. It applies to everybody. Now, the benefit as to why this makes sense for you guys is this. The end result for you as an asset manager or investment manager or as a financial advisor is you tend to end up with all of this money here under your advice. And all of this money here, I know the rules are changing over here, I understand, but in the UK, we manage all of the client's pension fund. The client gives us a large percentage of their earnings, so we make them save it. Okay. Also, when they downscale their house, we receive that money and invest it for them. When they sell their business, if they've got one, we get all of that money as well. So then we end up with all of their assets under our management, for want of a better word, on which we can then, if we want to, take an asset-based fee of 0.5% or 1% a year for managing the strategy, not for managing the money. You understand? Clients don't pay me now 1% a year for managing their money, because often I have to help clients to get less return. Not more return, less return. I have to get my clients prudence, not performance. I can demonstrate to clients they don't actually need any investment return, and therefore they need no risk. And they can still live the life they want. So my 1% a year isn't for getting them 2 or 3% a year investment return. My 1% a year is a financial planning strategy, which is far more justifiable every single year. So if markets go up or they go down, I still do this. In fact, if they go down, there's even more reason to do this, because they need to know where they are now compared to where they were last year. It's an ongoing service every year, which justifies your existence. More importantly, you change people's lives. And I'm sure Alan's got a story about this in a short while.